Alright, what's going on everyone? Supreme Comment here. So this time around we are at the permanent alteration page over here. So we are going to be taking a look at the new alteration for the Yumi Syougun and then the Marsfour Gundam over here. So one thing to note, they are different from limited because before you can alterate it, you have to have it all the way up to 6 star. I have it at 5 star rated, which is not enough. So it's going to cost you 5 mil to upgrade it to 6 stars. So it's gonna be a little bit more cost benefit to whether or not you want to do it. So that's why we're gonna go over to see if they're good enough, or even before you even want to alterate, right? Because they will take you 5 material. Because these one you can alterate anytime you like, depending on your situation and your needs. So that's the one good thing about it. But one bad part is you're gonna spend a little bit of a capital just to upgrade. I know nowadays the capital are so scarce because after the 2.4 update, with the rightly gear, man, everyone using capital left and right to upgrade this and that. So do you want to spend 5 mil on these one? Let's find out right now. So I should have the stat on the left hand side per or right hand side per usual. So in terms of the stat for the so we're gonna first thing start over with the ST over here. So there are gonna be 2 EXQ over here. So 7 parts over here. So let's quickly talk about the head and see how we're doing over here. It's actually not. It's actually bad to be honest. Like the stats after using that 30 change gear 30% is actually pretty low for melee head. In terms of the tech for this guy, 3 tags this guy's gonna have is gonna be close combat, Zaku type, and death for computer, which is not the most ideal setup over here. Granted, you can run vibe. You can make a good setup with Zaku type, but I'm pretty sure there's not a lot of good option. As for computer, those are not even for computer doesn't have the best of the tags or best of the parts. So I think running this guy over here is probably gonna be a big hindrance. In terms of the portrait over here of Outfighter, close shot attack does raise by 20%. I don't know why you would need close shot in this guy over here. This is, I mean, we do take a quick look. Like the stats are pretty evenly distributed. Like it's around 4K for both stats. But the tags, the most importantly, the tags does not really support for say like a shot build base. So I don't know, like like I don't know why they would do this. Like back in the day, I don't know, but so that's not gonna be too good for a melee build. So the first portrait is kind of like it's like a dud already. In terms of the second portrait, it's a little bit too only back to the back part, which is not which is okay because most good EX skill like in terms of like the cutscene EX skill are coming from the back part, so it's good. But I think we can look for something that's a little bit more generalized. Maybe all parts like all EX skill can get a benefit of that. So this one is probably just not good, right? All right, so moving on to the chest over here. If I can click on it, the stat is evenly distributed, both around the 4K mark over here, which is I would say kind of lowballing it because like as we advance on, like power creep is the thing. So I would say nowadays most okay chests I would say is around give or take like a mid 4K, like a maybe like 4500 would be like a ideal sweet spot because like some chests are already pushing in the territories of like 6,000 for say, like the straight turn red. Yeah, is it? Yeah, a straight turn red. It's making its way to that 6K mark already. That's yeah, so that's a little bit insane, right? So anywhere between I would say 4500 to maybe like the upper 4K, like 4900 ish. I would say it's pretty decent enough. If you can get if that part has a good portrait, definitely use it. If you have an EX skill, now you're gonna have to work a little bit extra hard as for like a sub slot to get a good portrait or whatnot. But in terms of this one over here, it's a little bit on the low balling it and pretty disappointing overall. This one does have an EX skill, so most likely because there's a lot of like even Warfare, we have a Warfare SD that has these the SD tackle over here. Most likely, if you guys, for example, you're looking into the limited parts, SD knuckles, yeah, you most likely gonna have it at level 1. So I would say, that one because we have a standard, we have a Warfare. a welfare parts. So I do have it all right here, right? So we did had a welfare SD a while ago. So if I can find it here real quick, just give you a quick comparison, right? Okay. Um, where are you at? Oh, never mind. That one does not. Excuse me. So it would have been this one, right? This one we got this as a welfare back. Oh, I would say a while ago, but never mind. This one does not actually have a SD nickel. So I think the best case scenario, if you're looking for SD tackle, is probably gonna be some standard ones over here. Do we have any standard that have SD tackle by any chance? We do, right? We have the this one is a standard, right? This one looks like a standard to me, I think. All right, I'm gonna assume this one is a standard. So the SD tackle is should be is it? Never mind. B minus. I mean B minus power is sufficient enough, right? Because if this is a standard, you can easily level 10 that faster than you can with a limited parts, right? So I would say the chest is a no go. Don't alterate the chest. All right. So moving on to the arm over here. In terms of the arm, it does break 10k, really breaking 10k, but most average arm I would say is pushing onward to like maybe 10 10,500 ish between that area, because like the highest because the highest not integrated shield arm we have currently is the H2 Magnum, coming in at 11,800, which is like yeah, way up there. I'm pretty sure next thing you know, we're gonna get a setup arm that's gonna rival up to like 12k max. So yeah, but in terms of the portrait over here, like, please explain to me why they have this kind of first portrait. Being ranged weapon, relay rate up by 20%, speed relay rate up by 20%. Like, why? Second portrait, you do have a when saber category equipped, melee power boosted by 35%. So that's good, but the first portrait is like, I don't think you're gonna be doing a lot of shooting with it on a melee. So this one is not a good portrait archery at all. Just bad in general, right? In terms of the leg, you are looking at a pretty evenly 4K distribution over here. Armors, like even the resistance and all that are pretty good, like pretty well balanced, I would say. In terms of the portrait, it's not looking the best in terms of the first portrait. EXQ damage taken reduced by 35 is just no, because EXQ does a lot of damage already. If this was like anywhere between like a 300, for example, I would say maybe, but even 300 as a flat number, it's just not good in general. So I would say it's not good. You don't need it. In terms of the second portrait, is good, right? But the first portrait kind of ruins it already, to the point you don't even want to alterate it, because you're just gonna be left with one good viable run. So one good viable portrait, which is not our best ideal situation over here. So you can skip the leg as well. All right, moving on to the backpack over here. It's gonna be a EXQ over here. It's gonna be the darkness sword over here. So this one is actually pretty good. Let's look at it at level 1 over here. Yeah, pretty decent already. I would say even before alteration, it should serve a pretty good purpose overall already. So this one is one of those that does help recovery. The best one we have in the market currently is gonna be the limited time. It's a double sky, but I forgot if it was a limit time or a soul kai. That one I would say is definitely 10 times better, because not only does that one heal, that one also give a melee buff, and that one is also a cutscene EXQ. Like, it gives you like that little pause in, like, you know how like when you activate, if you have the double sky backpack, when you activate it, you go into like this one slow mo. You pull out the sword from the H2 menu. Yeah, it has one of those where you are for that temporary like few seconds you are immune to taking hits. So I would say that one is better. That one does it 10 times better than this one would do. So this one does have its utility of getting a 38% max of maximum armor over here, which is good. But this one is only to yourself. It's not gonna be to your squad. So, so if you taking using this in like a, for example, daily multi missions over here with your crew, most of the time your ally might just die on the spot. So probably not the best one to use if you had to pick something. So that's that over here. All right, moving on to the darkness sword over here. All right, what do we have here? Okay, melee output boost by 30 flat, not good. When armor is 60% or more, that's okay. Enemy melee power be reduced by 30%. So this one is more on like different kind of flavor portrait over here. So these are more for like for more of a disruption over here, trying to lower your enemy melee power. This one is this really depends on whether or not you want to build a tanky build, where you want to reduce your enemy melee power. If that is something you would like to do, I mean there's definitely a better portrait like compared to the first one over here. If you can find something that has this second portrait and a better first portrait, then I think that's a better option because of the first portrait is kind of like useless on the spot. So we will skip that over here. Alright, moving on to the darkness cannon over here. It's going to be a bazooka type over here. So what are we doing? Okay, so this one is something a little bit more better, I would say. So speed attribute, jockey increased by 17%, so which is not the worst case scenario, because there are strategy where players are trying to, for example, boost up their job gauge right before like you start for the arena, and then you can just kind of execute at that job gauge to get a bigger boost, right? So you do better damage. So you can do it in that kind of manner, but I would say you are sacrificing a lot of like power boosting portrait, which is it's like a double-edged sword, right? So second portrait is gonna be good, but both of these are limited to only S attribute, which is not the most ideal situation we want over here. So overall, like like as for the review for the Yumi Syougun over here, it's more of like me ranting about rather than kind of praying, because there's not, because like how bad I would say it is, like it's just how like the time frame this guy was made, the text and the portrait doesn't really it doesn't have that much utility in like today's meta. Like even like a lot of better, like there's just a lot of better parts out there already, right? So up next we will be going over the Marsfour as well. Okay, so turning our attention to Marsfour over here, I am quite impressed with how they handle this guy over here. I would say if something you have to alterate, like if you are some pretty player that want to invest in some good melee part, I would say Marsfour is something that can probably assist you throughout your journey in this game over here. But overall, like I'm pretty satisfied with how they did it. But overall, like handbooking is something you can obviously like skip on it, because they will do you no good. Unless you can find a good subslot for this, I would say even like the status, I wouldn't say the highest. 4K is actually pretty decent enough, right? Uh, but as for this one, you're gonna have to do some major subslotting where you can probably I would say maybe try Xia. I would say, does Xia have no? You're trying to find something that has a pro tag, not a pro tag, close combat, and has a good portrait, right? Okay, I don't think we have any of those here, unfortunately, right? Gundam is probably not. Okay, what about Force Impose? Force Impose, yes, there you go. So Force Impose can be your best friend over here, trying to get that sub slot. So this sub slot, okay. Second portrait for this guy is not the best, but I mean, if this is the only option you have, I think it still works out just fine over here. Alright, so the head is something I'll probably skip out just because you do have a head Pokemon which nobody really uses. Unless you guys do use it, just do let me know, right? Alright, so moving on to the chest over here, I am so shocked. It shook me when I saw the stats, right? This one is rivaling like even to some Sokai parts, to be honest. Like for this is I would say a pretty good setup chest over here. This one is actually better than if you guys have seen the actual number, this one is slightly better than slightly better by 100 to the Apion Gundam. Yeah, it's Soka parts. It's better than that. And look at the portrait. It's actually pretty good. So you have one of those with power attribute, EXQ CD reduced by 20%. So this is actually good. Oh my gosh. They have one of these where standard part. Yep. P type always receive a lot of these over here. While close combat, EXQ piercing boosted by 28%. So this 28 more percent of staggering your opponents over here, which is a pretty good thing if you're considering about running this onto like battle kit, for example. In that perspective, you can constantly kind of get your like the big guy, like the final boss stagger for like a period of time where you can kind of like just think about what you can do as for your next move. So in that manner, I would think these are pretty good. But if you guys do have better options, so really I would say use those as well. As for the three main tags for this guy over here is gonna be close combat, Gundam type, and then for computer. So Gundam type is obviously for more of like a shot build. So if you are someone who is trying to use this any of these more sport report over here, make sure you can subslot something that gives like either like some other like pro tag, high mobility, high firepower, or even like a mobile fighter of that sort. So that's gonna be a little bit of a just a do over. I would say trying to get rid of that Gundam type over there. Right, so if you have the chest, I would highly recommend alterating that because how good the stat is, right? I would say, like I said earlier, like anywhere between like a 45 to like even like a really upper 4K, like 4900 ish, approaching the 5K is actually pretty ready. And this one coming in as a standard port is excellent. All right, so moving on to the arm over here, let's see what we do. Like even at arm, so I have found out that like throughout looking at these standard parts over here. Remember how I said head port is the most important port for shot build, then arm is the most important port for like melee build. This one coming in at 9K flat, and then we quickly take a detour. Look at the Soul Shroud. What they did is put this one flat 9K as a base. Offensive side over here. That's quite interesting to see over here. So I don't know if that is something they're gonna continuously do for later on. What about this one? This one is slightly higher just because this one does that portrait maybe, but we can see that they are continuously trying to improve the overall permanent alteration for these permanent parts over here, which you can say if you can get these guys to like max level, I would say they will benefit you even better in some scenario compared to like soul card parts, right? Because these are you comparing level 10 to most likely like a level 1. So this is good. As a first portrait, or the portrait for this one over here is more of like a, you do have a little bit of a disruption to your enemy. So you do have an enemy power reduced by 30% when using P attribute. And then close range of weapon EXQ power boosted by 35%. So this one, I'm pretty sure any close quarter EXQ will get a benefit of this. But I don't know if, like the wording, maybe like because the Gushin Gundam's shield, the Halibut shield is like a throw melee shield. I don't know if it's only those or just any close range to EXQ may get the benefit of this. So that's just the wording of this is a little bit more sometimes they're a little bit more vague about this over here, but most likely it's just any close range to just any melee EXQ in German maybe. If that's the case, this is gonna be pretty good. So you do have one power buffing and then one debuffing to your enemy, so which is it's pretty good overall. I would say. But all right, now moving on to the leg over here. What does the leg have over here? I would say the leg does have compared to the other part, does have the lowest stat of all the parts over here. So this one may not be something you want to pick up. All right, in terms of the it's actually not too bad actually. So when armor is 40% or more, you do have another EXQ piercing boosted by 28%. So that's a pretty good overall. And then when you are using Infighter Job, EXQ power boosted by 35%. It's you can use it on any EXQ will get the benefit of it. So this is good. That's excellent here. Wow. Okay. All right. Moving on to the beam saber. Not beam saber. The backpack that has a beam EXQ over here. Melee beam. The set is on the lower 4K over here. I would say this one is more in range of like using it on a skin for that EXQ purposes over here. This one is going to be high rep sword over here. It's going to do like a multiple hit combo over here. This actually should in theory do a lot of good damage. So I have tested it out in terms of like the combo it does. It's actually quite a lot. So in theory it should do it should do pretty much okay. But If you don't alterate it, just coming in at B plus power is should be sufficient enough. I don't think it really needs because the amount of resource that you're gonna have to spend, you're gonna upgrade this, you're gonna have to upgrade these to like 6 star, right? So just make sure that the cost benefit is good to you before doing any of these permanent alteration, because they are a little bit more costly, I would say. All right, moving on to the sword over here, the slash blade over here. So this one is another EX over here. This is the 3 combo over here, so it's actually pretty good. This one does have coming in at A plus peers. Wow, my gosh, it is gonna be a B plus. So let me actually take a look at what is it pre-alteration. Just want to quickly take a look. Oh yeah, this one you're gonna have to alterate in order to get the better benefit of it. So is this something you want to probably alterate? I wouldn't say it's like something you need, so it's probably something you can skip just because it is a little bit expensive, like I said. So you can kind of just skip on this over here, to be honest. All right, moving on to the final melee weapon over here is going to be the twin saber type ish over here. So not best stat overall, like coming in at 10,725, which is not too bad actually. Pretty, I would say, in range of like most top tier, not top tier, but like just like an average one, I would say. In terms of the WoW, what do we have here? We have when you are using P attribute, initial EXQ charge boost by 20%, so that is good already. And then with melee, excuse me, with P attribute, melee damage output boost by 300. Alright, so this one is actually pretty good. So let's say you are using like a funnel type, like the melee funnel type, so you get multiple hit. So what it does is like for every hit, you get 300 up, so that is beneficial. For example, if you are using the H2 Magnum Arm EXQ, because that one is a 4 funnel type melee, 4 melee funnel, so you are gonna, for example, your base attack is like 1000 damage, right? So in theory, if this is how it works, you get this 300 outputs added on, so it's gonna be 1300 instead. So every hit you are doing, or for that cycle, you are doing 1200 more. So yeah, if you're using melee funnel, yeah, it is gonna be really, really powerful. Same with like the reborn shield, because the reborn shield I believe have 4 melee funnel as well. So that one we get the benefit of this. For example, if you use this, your funnel output should be 300 more. So overall, it is pretty excellent over here. So I would say I am really, really impressed with the Marsfour Gundam over here. Like overall, the alteration just kind of give a life to this guy, like just a little bit more over here. EV pre-alteration, there are some ports that you can take benefit already, like the chest EV pre-alteration. You do have this EXQ reduced, so this one is already good. Same with the twin saber over here. So overall, like if you have to alterate something, just alterate something that you really must need. Don't just alterate because they are a little bit expensive for the permitted side over here. So that will be it for these two over here. And then with that being said, I will catch you guys later on.